Yeah, so just building on the previous video that I did just above, I'm gonna just talk about the Varya's super objective of the whole play, her motivations, as well as her objective in the non-proposal scene, which I will be performing. So we'll start off with the whole play. In the whole play, I believe that Varya's um, super objective is to ultimately belong somewhere, is to feel as if she is part of something that she can have ownership over, that she belongs, basically. She feels like she belongs somewhere, whether that be in a family, in the form of having a family of her own, in a marriage, or whether that's becoming a nun and going to a retreat. And obviously those ideas are quite far apart, but to Varya, Varya is so insecure about her own, probably through her own loneliness and through her own not feeling worthy of where she is, and her sort of a lack of connection with the rest of her adopted family, that all she really wants is to belong somewhere and feel as if she's with people who accept her fully for who she is and want her there and want her around. And yeah, I can definitely relate to this in a lot of ways, and this is probably why I wanted to play Varya the most. It probably builds a lot on Sanozowski. Sort of emotional memory, but more just sort of empathy with the character. I've experienced sort of, I think a lot of Varya's feelings, definitely Varya's feelings of not being good enough, not feeling accepted, not feeling like I belong anywhere. I've definitely experienced that, and I can definitely empathize with Varya's anger at the world, anger, at the people closest to her, like her family, and I think the one major character difference between me and Varya is that I've always felt very connected to my family, and I had that upbringing where I did feel very connected to them, and I still do. Whereas Varya doesn't have that, and that's really a really interesting thing for me to sort of explore, how if a person doesn't have, their family to support them, who do they have? And I've sort of felt her feelings of not belonging when I've been in sort of friendship groups, in sort of social situations, and it's really interesting to sort of think about how if you don't have your family, who do you have, you know, and how alone she must feel in the world, and that's a really interesting thing for me to look into as an actor. So moving on to her objectives in the non-proposal scene. I would say that her main objective in that scene, or main want in that scene, is to get a proposal from Leparkin, plain and simple. I think she does love Leparkin, probably not for who he is, probably more for the fact that he represents how she can finally feel like how she finally feels that if she gets married, she can belong somewhere. And I think it's more that kind of affection, because she thinks he is the embodiment of a happier life for her, of a new start, and feeling like she is connected and belongs with someone else and has something to really focus on in her life that isn't working. And I think our main thing in that scene is to get this proposal from the bargain. I think another sort of objective in that scene, it's not to seem so eager as she is for marriage. It says in the script that it's actually Leparkin and Ranievskaya who have a conversation, and Ranievskaya reveals to him that she has always wanted to see him and Varya together, and he says, okay, I'll propose now, or I never will. and Ranjskaya goes to get Varya, and Varya comes into the room, and Varya acts like she's looking for something, rather than just coming in and expecting this proposal off the pocket. So I think it's definitely a case of Varya, she doesn't want to seem too eager, she doesn't want to seem desperate, even though she is, in reality, she's very desperate, and yeah, she probably just wants to keep this mask of indifference and, you know, sort of being friendly, like not being rude, but not being too eager either or desperate, you know, to look Harkin. Which I think is why she breaks at the end of the play. She just completely breaks down. She just, well, I say completely breaks down. She completely breaks down, but she does it with such a grace, which is sort of unbelievable for me. He sort of leaves, and she just weeps, probably for about, a few seconds, 5 seconds maybe, according to the script. And then Ranjskaya comes in, and all Ranjskaya says to her is, "What?" As if to say, like, what's happened? And she suddenly just turns around, and she stopped crying, and she just says, "Mama, we need to leave, or we're going to miss the train." And, it's so heartbreaking because you can see how broken she is, and yet she feels that she has to keep up this facade, which in a way that she does, but she probably has done that for many days in her life. She's probably felt like breaking into tears many times in her life, and she has just had to sweep it off and just keep going. And to me, that's an unbelievable strength of character from Varya, which I think really needs to be explored, and I really want to, emphasize that when I play her, that she's such a strong woman, in a world of, I think, the women in her life, particularly Ranjskaya, is weak in a lot of ways. I mean, she has a weakness that she can't take care of money, she can't admit that, they're going to lose the house. But Varya is very aware of this. Varya says many times, "We are going to lose the house if we don't do something. Something needs to happen." And I just think it's so heartbreaking for Varya. I mean, I have so much sympathy for her, and I really just want to play her as the strong character that she is, and really show her longing to belong. And just, I think everyone in their life has had a period of time where they felt like they don't belong anywhere, nobody understands them. But Varya's probably had that for many years, and I really want to show that in a character. And I think her main objective throughout the play is to feel like she belongs, whether that be in a marriage to a parker, marriage to anyone for that matter, or in a nunnery. And they're going to be some of the focuses that I'll be looking at when I portray her. So this is my sort of first video about the objectives of Varya after doing more research, and I hope as I as I said in the video above, as I begin to do more research on her and, understand her more, in terms of context, that I will sort of be able to have a definite idea of what her objectives are, her super objective is. But right now, this is what I see from my first bits of research. So I will make other videos about, how I view her when I've done more research, when I've when I've played alongside my fellow actor who played a Parkin. And yeah, this is sort of my just first ideas about what her super objective and her objectives are. So yes, I'll be making more videos. Sorry, this is another long one, but yeah, these are just my sort of first ideas about Varya and her motivations in the play, and I hope there'll be many more insightful experiences. So yeah, watch this space.